to America's Mayor live, from the same place. We just changed the background a little bit. We want to put a few heroes up there to encourage me. Ronald Reagan, you see him there. Make America Great, you see that there. Rudy's not one of my heroes, but the coffee's great. And then, of course, greatest man that ever lived, God, Jesus Christ. You can't have much better than that hanging out behind you, right, to protect you. We'll bring down our statue of the Virgin Mary for next week. Okay, maybe if we can run upstairs, we'll get it later and put it up. Yeah, I mean, she deserves to be there too. So now, the new Epstein thing, the big Wall Street Journal, Trump and Epstein, way back before any of this came out, wrote a palsy kind of note with each other. Stupid, ridiculous. It's so long ago, it doesn't mean anything when you consider the other facts. And why are they doing that when they got a big picture of Bill Clinton dressed up like a woman in Epstein's house? The picture is bigger, 30 times bigger than my picture of Ronald Reagan. They know that Trump was never on the plane going to Pervert Island. They know that Clinton was on that plane to go to Pervert Island, is lying about it. They know he might have been on it many times and is lying about it. We don't know that. We know that he was much closer to the Clintons than he was to Trump. Trump broke off the relationship with him very, very early. Oh, maybe around 2007, 2006, 2000, even before the first conviction. Had nothing to do with this. I know what it had to do with it. I interviewed the people involved. This is a load of crap by Rupert. I like Rupert. I've known Rupert for so long. I helped him with Fox, admired him. I don't know what they're doing. This whole little note, and now Trump says, I never wrote that thing. This doesn't, I mean, I got to tell you, look, I believe Trump. He's my pal. He's my friend. So I can't give you total objectivity on this, right? So I'm going to give you, but I'll give you as much as I can in terms of my honest belief here. This isn't Trump. I mean, this is Trump out of character. And I knew him back then. I knew him a hell of a lot better than Epstein. And I'm going to tell you, ain't no way Trump, if Trump knew what Epstein was really doing, Trump might have committed a felony and not be able to be president, a real felony. I never met Epstein. If I knew about Epstein and he was hanging around the city of New York, I'd have found a way to put him in jail for the rest of his effing life. But this guy stayed away from me. A lot of these creeps stayed away from me. It's amazing. Maybe I'm scary. In my ability to catch criminals, I am. I really am. I mean, a lot of people don't believe that, but you put me on some of these people they're trying to get, I'll get them.
I bet that's why Epstein always stayed away from you.
I swear to God, Ted, people have a talent for something, right?
Yeah.
Michelangelo had a talent for painting on his back, and Donald Trump has a talent for making deals. And I had a talent for government. I did pretty good as mayor, but what I really had a talent for is convicting people. And when they're guilty.
I'm convinced.
And I had a hell of a conscience about it. I mean, I drove myself nuts over whether the people were really guilty. Drove myself nuts over it. I wanted to come out of all my years as a prosecutor, never have to look back and say, I took away liberty from an innocent man, and God forbid life. I mean, I stayed up nights, re-questioned it afterwards, willing to listen. I mean, lawyers will tell you if they're honest, no matter who they were and no matter how guilty their client was, they could come in and try to convince me not to bring the case. My assistants would go nuts.
I'm convinced that's why he stayed away from you. If you think of how close he was to all these folks, I think he knew better. And Mary, I don't think you even knew this.
No,
His places,
they were afraid of me because look,
he knew you were
before they even knew me. We go back to the 1980s. I was sticking the drug dealers in jail and actually letting them stay in jail. I was going after politicians. I put when I was 29 years old, I convicted a congressman and got him to plead guilty on a witness stand. From
At
then
29.
from then on, they figured, stay away from this guy. So I don't know about this Epstein thing. I believe, this is my belief. I can't prove it, so I'm not going to give it to as proof. My belief is this is horseshit. This is as big horseshit as Russian collusion. This note. I don't see Donald writing, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Do you see Donald Trump at any time saying that, even saying that? I've spent years analyzing things. Do they fit? Don't they fit? Do they fit into a case? If you tried to put this in a case against Donald Trump for me, I'd say, get out of here. That's not Donald Trump. That's not his voice. I can tell when it's Donald Trump. So can you. You know him well enough now. And then also, what does it matter? Because it doesn't show he did anything with him. Yeah, the guys a couple of times. What do they have dinner? Double date a couple of times. He was a member of Mar-a-Lago. He was a member of the golf club. So am I. So are thousands of people. Well, not about thousands, a lot of people. He used his plane twice, both times in order to bring his family back, including, I think his wife was with him both times. Epstein was not on the plane, to bring the kids to go back to New York when his plane was being serviced. It's something that was quite common and that the members there used to do to help each other. I mean, half of them have planes. So I'm going back. You want to ride? Or my plane is tied up for a week. Are you using that kind of stuff? Their pilots need airtime. Sometimes it doesn't even cost a penny to do it. Did it only twice. Clinton didn't do that. Clinton headed for Pervert Island. But nobody's asking about Clinton. Nobody's asking to see the logs of the flights. Got to be the Secret Service kept records of when Clinton took off for Pedophile Island. So lay off Trump. This is a bum rap, and I think that's why he's angry. He's angry because he's looking at it this way. His people are interested in this because they see it as his people that are interested in it. And it isn't all of them by any means, but they're interested in this because they've seen this as an example of the deep state. And I mean, I can't tell you for sure. I did too, but I'm not sure. There are things about this case that don't make sense to me, and nobody's explained them to me. I'm willing to listen. I'm a hard sell on Epstein committing suicide in that prison, because I think it's very hard to commit suicide in that prison. It isn't just a prison, it's a prison I know as well as or better than anyone. I do not understand how the cameras could be out that long, and even the guy who's got to look at all the cameras constantly doesn't realize that they're out. I don't know why they switched him from suicide watch to not, and then he commits suicide. These are all things that for a detective, doesn't mean that he didn't kill himself. It means he got to answer them. Nobody's answered them. And the Wall Street Journal is going nuts about conspiracy theory and making fun of his people for being conspiracy theorists. No, they're just a lot more logical than you are, jackasses, and they've solved crimes. Now, I respect Bongino and Bondi and Cash so much that I'm sure they have logical explanations for this. And I've been in this long enough to know that my assumptions can be wrong. They have been half the time. When I investigate a crime, sometimes the first 5 assumptions turn out to be wrong. but I got to hear it. You got to say something to me. You got to explain to me, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but actually with the cameras out on a guy that's your most sensitive prisoner who you just switched from suicide watch and nobody noticed it. Okay, now what did you do about it? Did you fire the guy? Did you question him? Let me see the interview. Things like that, that's all. This isn't rocket science. Sometimes it's harder for people than rocket science, but it's not.
You're right.
And I'm going to tell you, the New York, the Wall Street Journal has made this that much more complicated with this note, which they should have gone a long way to verify before they used it. And if Trump said that's not his note, that's not his note. Because when I first saw it, before Trump said anything about it, I said, this doesn't sound right to me. This doesn't sound like, and this is before Trump threw him out. I mean, this could be true and it doesn't mean anything. This is before Trump found out that he was harassing massage ladies at Mar-a-Lago. And this is absolutely 100% certifiably true with documents. And he threw him out. Now, let's face it. If he had been compromised with this son of a bitch, would he have thrown him out? He's not dopey. He's a street guy. He knows. This guy would compromise people to limit their options. Well, he didn't limit Trump's options, did he? Trump threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and the golf course, and there is no doubt about it. And it was I think a year before he got convicted the first time and got a crazy deal that was way too favorable, that suggested possible intelligence interference in the case. Suggested. And then we go along with the strange thing that Barr was going to recuse himself from the case because his law firm was involved in it and because of the fact he didn't want to reveal that his father hired him to be a teacher. And then Barr put himself back in the case and certified that it wasn't a killing, it was a suicide. Certified. Now, why was he recused from it, then back in it? What is the nature of his father's relationship with him? I don't even know. It's possible the father didn't have that much to do with him. Now, you want to talk about conspiracy theories? Please don't blame it on the people who are walking around with conspiracy theories. Please don't. Please blame it on yourself for confusing the effing daylight out of them. What do you expect they're going to have when these have never answered? How did Barr get back in the case? Did Barr's father just have a very, very casual connection with him? Was it stronger? Why did Barr say he would recuse himself and then not do it? How were the lights out for him? How were the cameras out for so long? You leave those things open, I'm sorry, you're going to get a conspiracy. So I wish somebody would take control of this. I think the Trump part of it's going to go away because there's nothing there. There's no there. And some of the problems created for the president are created, I'm sorry to say, by the way, the questions aren't being answered. I mean, if there was anything there that incriminated Trump, there's no way Biden would have missed it, right? They used every phony statute they could. If they had something like this, boom, bam. And even if it gave up Clinton, they wouldn't have given a damn. So when you look at the polls, it is true if you focus just in on Epstein, people are unhappy with the way it's being handled. But if you focus in on overall approval, the Republicans and Trump are at the highest numbers they've ever been. So I think the American people have figured out that this is important. It's not as important as what Obama did, what Brennan did, what Hillary did, and how they tried to frame and remove a duly elected president with false testimony, with money paid to people that was laundered, and then the other atrocities, January 6th, and covering up the hard drive with the connivance of the press and the Ukrainian government. All these things are much more serious. But this just should be handled professionally. Now, I do not know why people have been calling me for 2 days and want me to comment on why was James Cardinal Comey's daughter fired in the Southern District. Well, let me first point out that James Cardinal Comey is not really a cardinal, so he's allowed to have a daughter. If you were a cardinal, unless we're talking about Renaissance Rome, you weren't allowed to have a daughter. So this is not meant to be any. I just call him James Cardinal Comey because he's such an effing phony. And the press treats him like he actually is telling the truth when he's lied so often they shouldn't even look at him. When he goes by, they should all spit at him. So, or maybe he should spit at them, or they should spit at each other. I mean, they got the Pulitzer Prize for Russian collusion. Look what came out today that Obama orchestrated. It is ridiculous. So Maureen Comey got fired in the Southern District. Now, why was she fired? So I got asked this question. This is Maureen Comey in case you ever meet her. So we don't get her confused with James Cardinal Comey. She's been an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York for some time. I was warned by my lawyers that she would be very difficult, that she might be a problem for my case, where I was totally innocent. I do not know if that's true. I do know there was a real debate in the U.S. Attorney's Office after they cleared me and weren't going to do anything as to whether or not to give me a letter saying I was cleared. And ultimately, the good people prevailed. I don't know what side she was on. I was told things about her that I don't know are true, so I'm not going to repeat it. Why was she fired? I don't know. Was she fired over the handling of the Diddy case? I doubt it. The Diddy case was handled terribly. I don't remember prosecutors being fired for overcharging. And she's won some cases too. Was she fired because of her old man? I hope not. Was she fired because there were suspicions that she was doing things because she's a Trump derangement syndrome person? I don't know. I don't know if she is a Trump derangement syndrome person. All I know about her is she's Comey's daughter. She's in the U.S. Attorney's Office. And there were people who believed that she was doing Comey's dirty work in the Trump world. Do I know if that's true or not? I do not. Do I think it was right to fire her? I have no reason to say that she should be fired. I do not believe that you fire some kid because of what the old man did. I see too many divergences there, always. And I see a tremendous unfairness. So there better have been a good reason, or otherwise they're starting to act like they shouldn't. I mean, even if there's a suspicion about it, what the heck, we can live with that. We've lived with a lot worse than that. Trump has ordered a release of the grand jury files. Now, of course, he can't do that. A judge has to approve that. And the judge has to find that it's in the overall interest of justice to do so. So if they're not released by a judge, please don't blame it on Trump. You can't release grand jury testimony. There's a law. The law says that they're under extraordinary circumstances. If there's no, well, if the judge finds that it's in the overriding interest of justice to do it, he will or she will. Now, overall interest of justice does not mean prurient interest. It doesn't mean that the Daily News wants a headline. It means something having to do, for example, if these things just have to do with a bunch of perverts, I don't think the judge is going to release it. I mean, I'd like him to, but that's not the law, so we won't. Sure, I mean, we'd like to know who the perverts are, but did you ever think that it might not be true? So we start throwing rocks at some guy who's a pervert and he wasn't? Just because some other pervert says he is. I mean, we are a country of laws, not of extremely fallible men and women. And as much as I'd like to know, I don't think we should release a name if all we have is a name and nothing else that suggests they did anything wrong. Could I draw some lines there? Sure. Suppose you were on the plane 2-3 times. I don't know if that's enough. Suppose you're on the plane 8 or 9 times, heading to Pervert Island, I'm talking about. I don't know. I think maybe we should take a look at that. What about the statute of limitations? Does it apply to any of these people or all of these people? I know the statute of limitations sounds terribly technical to you. To me, I live by it, Well, I did live by it until they threw me out being a lawyer because I was too damn honest. So I don't know what the right thing to do here with her was. And I can't say they acted wrong. I can't say they acted right. And it could be that they can't put out the information that justified firing her. I feel uncomfortable about it. Let me put it that way. Since I don't have an explanation, and the most obvious explanation is her old man, it makes me nervous. I can't tell you what I would do because I don't have the facts. The president's health. What about the president's health? Oh my goodness. The president has swelling. The president has swelling in his ankles. You want to see? Yeah, take a look. Look there. See? Yeah. Let's get rid of that part. Yeah. Get rid of that part there. Here. There they are. Right there. He got swelling in his ankles. Wow. So far, he hasn't fallen down walking up a plane or recognized a dead congresswoman in the audience or thought that he saw Franklin Roosevelt on television when Franklin Roosevelt was dead before television. And he hasn't said that he liked little kids touching the hair on his legs. Meanwhile, the impossibly terrible, awful press is trying to say that he's showing signs of dementia. What a bunch of horseshit. The guy shows signs that a good deal of the press corps has dementia when he outlasts them and beats the crap out of them and knows more than they do. That he gets some names wrong or dates wrong, or if he does, I mean, that's being human. 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds do that all the time. So his exam shows that he has a chronic venous insufficiency, which has to do with the mild swelling has to do very often with traveling a lot on airplanes, taking aspirin, which many people take what was it, 83 something aspirin, the small little aspirin for the heart. I did it for a while. I've done it on and off throughout my life. And it's a mixed analysis of whether it helps you or not. But one of the things it can do when you have side effects from it is to create swelling. And it also comes about if you, believe it or not, shake hands too much. Well, I don't know. Does anybody shake hands more than Donald J. Trump? And it is a benign, relatively benign disease. The chance that it causes a blood clot is no greater for him than for you or me, who might be completely healthy. And it's a condition that, of course, he's 78, 79. It's a condition that doesn't seem to impair him at all. And an excess of transparency. I don't even think this would normally even be revealed about a president. So he's got to wear a sock. Got to wear a sock down there. I should be wearing a thing on my knee because I can hardly walk with my knee. Doesn't mean, and I can't think it. I'll think a 25-year-old. I don't think with my knee. Some of them do. I don't. I need an operation on my knee. I've needed it since I was 50, probably. One busted up, and I had to get it done as an emergency. The other one I just put off because the pain is worth it because I don't want to take the time off. But I probably am going to do it. Probably am going to do it. But I mean, this is absurd because we had one president that was completely out of his effing mind. We're going to go torture every president now, except for Wilson and Roosevelt. At least in the last 100 and some years, we haven't had a non-compass mentis president. Roosevelt was at a critical time when we gave away Eastern Europe. I mean, that was pretty bad, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that Roosevelt probably didn't even know he was at Yalta when he gave Poland away. But the communists around him did. Chronic venous insufficiency is treated by, at most, how about this? Maybe a compression sock when he flies. And then here's the things that Dr. Schutz recommends. Golfing more. Now, did he pay him for that? Did Trump pay Schutz to say that, Ted? I'm serious. But he does say not riding in the cart. Take him out of that cart. He won't be on the phone so much. He'll pay attention to his golf. He walks a lot. I would say when he's not distracted, meaning they're not talking about bombing someplace. And we've watched him, within the last 2 months play golf. So this isn't way back. When he's not distracted, he walks at least half the time. And if he's got a guest that he likes to talk to, he walks with the guest. Like when he has a golfer that he wants to talk to about golf. If it's a politician, he's probably not as interested because he's out there to enjoy, but he'll do that too. I mean, he likes to talk. I mean, he'll talk right up until the time he takes his shot, and he'll make a perfect shot. The idea that he's a very, very good golfer is absolutely true. For his age, he's a phenomenal golfer. And I am so glad that part of the therapy here is walking daily and golfing more. Here's another one. As well as tensing calf muscles during official meetings that require long sitting. So this is like what Dr. Maria always tells me. And I did it actually on my trip to Dubai, which was 12 hours. I didn't get up every hour because I slept a little, but I must have gotten up 12 times and walked all around the plane. And I've been taking long trips for a long time and have never had much of a health issue as a result of it. But I am pretty good at, first of all, I'm restless, so that helps. But I am pretty good at not just staying there immobile. So I walk all around the plane. And they probably think I'm a spy or something, and I get to talk to people that way. So I think the president's going to be fine. And I just wish they would stop all this crap with comparing him to Biden. So let's take a short break. And when we get back, we'll talk about chips. We're going to talk about chips. I'm not going to tell you what kind. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
And we're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with you on America's Mayor Live from beautiful New Hampshire and Dover, to be specific, Dover, New Hampshire, which is where we are right now. And a little different. It's the same place, just a little different background. We thought we put a few things up there that inspire. I don't know if you can see the little Iwo Jima in between the crucifix and the Rudy. There's a little one. We should get a bigger Iwo Jima. We got that in Washington, Ted, right? Well, you'll have to do that later. But we'll be changing that up a little. He brought down a statue of the Virgin Mary we could put up there too. Largely because I think we need a help against communism. People forget that the Virgin Mary appeared in Fatima, and one of the reasons, many others, was war. It was to create a Donald Trump, a man who abhors war, but it was also to convince the Russians to convert and to get rid of communism that Mary said would ruin the world. And we used to. The reason I know that is from the time I was a little boy in Catholic school, when we said the rosary or at the end of Mass, we always prayed for the conversion of Russia. based on Our Lady of Fatima. Now, when they do Fatima, they leave Russia out. You know, we do it woke, like they did Superman woke. I liked it, but now that
I don't want to influence you otherwise.
So
'cause
now
I've
that I'm reading about it and thinking, I just got so excited about the scenes. I didn't think about the fact that he was some kind of alien.
Yeah.
We don't know what side the United States was on. It looks like it was on the wrong side.
Right.
What the hell was wrong with
He got
Hollywood?
beat up the whole movie.
You know what's wrong with Hollywood? It's owned by China. You can't get a good movie showing how terrible China is. I mean, you could do a great. You know the way we used to do movies about the Nazis and about the Japanese and how terrible they were, and
Right.
that's what we should be doing about Red China. Their genocide of the genocide of the Uyghur people. Why don't we have James Bond go save the Uyghur people? Or how about all the Christians they kill and the bishops they put in jail? Why don't we do one about the great Chinese bishop, archbishop, cardinal that's in jail? Or maybe we could do one about how the coronavirus really started. How about a big, gigantic Cecil B. DeMille movie on the Wuhan lab and how it almost destroyed the world? You know why you wouldn't get a movie like that? China wouldn't let you do it. And all these guys are getting big bucks from China. You hear Hollywood names getting paid off by China big time. They actually come in and say, no, they changed the scripts, the whole thing. So the chip sale now, a lot of people are confused about why we would like Nvidia to sell, why we would let them sell chips to China. Nvidia is the biggest producer of chips. Now, producer, not necessarily the biggest producer of chips, that's wrong. They're the producer of the most advanced chips. They're usually 1, 2, or 3 generations ahead of everybody, but different types of chips, but similarly sophisticated chips that are done in Taiwan. And China relies on Taiwan for those chips. China can't make them. We can. We don't make them in abundance. They can't. I'm not sure Nvidia can make the Taiwanese chips. We're talking about different quality of things here. So Trump is doing a great job of straightening this out for us. Luckily, under Comrade Biden, who actually wouldn't be a comrade, they wouldn't let him in. He's too stupid. He'd be like the mafia. The mafia would never make him either because he was too dumb. But fellow traveler, you call somebody who's a communist but not quite. They don't let him in, a fellow traveler. That used to be the old word for it. So Biden was doing a good job of getting us to fall behind China, but he never got there. And Trump, almost on day one, came in, and it's as if, boy, he wasn't going to lose a day. He got the guy over from Taiwan. He made a deal with him. Taiwan is right now in the middle of putting up an undisclosed number of facilities, a lot of it in Arizona, but moving it around. And they're going to do billions of dollars in chip manufacturing if they haven't started already. And I believe, now this is Rudy Giuliani, not any classified information, or it's speculation of somebody that's been in and around government forever. I believe that what we're trying to do, big picture here, is get the Taiwanese to be able to duplicate in America what they're doing in Taiwan. Now, why do we do that? We do that because there could come a day, if the worst happens, that we have to destroy those facilities in Taiwan so we don't make them available to China, should China invade and succeed in Taiwan. Now, I think that's a big if. And I think the chances there are on our side. We can go over that at some other point. I do not believe that right now China could overtake Taiwan if we gave them the kind of help more than Ukraine, possibly less than Israel, or at least equivalent to Israel. If you were standing there right beside them and ready to come in and pinch it when we had to. If we let them lean on our superior missile defense system, if we accelerated their amphibious defense system, which is brilliant, by the way, and we helped Philippines, Japan, to become active, useful participants. So, I mean, that's important. But the chips race, many people feel is more important than the arms race. And why do I say that? Because you could develop the most sophisticated arms, which we do have now, and we are moving that ahead too. Like, we used to be ahead like this, let's say, like this, right? Used to be ahead like this. Now we're ahead like this, but we're moving. But if they get ahead on chips, which means that they can activate super ridiculously complex to even envision computers, they'll be able to figure out how to undermine our weapons and vice versa. So we want to be ahead in both. Not good enough to be ahead in weapons. You got to be ahead in quantum computing also. And that's where the chips race becomes so important. So now you say to me, well, why are we allowing Numidia if we are? It's sort of like yes today and no tomorrow, and yes today and this condition and that condition. But latest is we're going to allow them to do some. Why are we allowing them to sell to China? Excuse me, Namibia, because they're crying like babies that they have to because they're not going to make enough money. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Okay. But second, China is probably going to get their hands on these chips anyway, because we do sell them. Like, there's now a big sale to the UAE. It's being held up by some of the security people because they're afraid of what you're thinking about, right? They're afraid if they sell them to the UAE, China will backdoor it and get them from the UAE. Well, then we might as well not sell them at all if we're going to do that, right? And and then you know what they're going to do? They're going to go to China for them. It might not be as effective a chip, but they'll go to China for it. And then over a period of time, China will find a way to steal them from us and then have the financial resources to pass us. So you got to think at several levels here. So I think the right choice is to let China buy them from us. Let them be dependent on us for it. Let's make sure that we can always stay a generation or two ahead of them, which we are and should remain, so that no matter what they steal, they're not getting the next generation one. And then if they decide that they're not going to give us the rare earths that we need, like we did last time, we pulled things from them that they needed. We got things we can pull from them. Oh, you don't want to give us the rare earths? Well, we're not going to give you the chips, jackass. For a while, until we become effectively independent of them in critical areas, we got to play this game. And thank God we got an intelligent president. Will you stop with this dementia bullshit? I mean, this guy's got a brain that's got all you beat, which is why you're jealous. I've never seen a president operate at so many different levels of complexity And he really leaves the press behind. When I listen to them questioning him, it's a joke. And when I even listen to them question Carolyn, it's a joke. They have no idea what the second and third part of the program is, nor do their minds, because they're so damn lazy, ever get there. Almost everything he does is like a Bach, it's like a Bach concerto. So Bach didn't write, like, you think of a piece of music as one tune, right? Bach used to do 3, 4, 5, 6, called contrapuntal. Different instruments to be playing different things. And then he'd figure out through the harmony how to get it together. So you have to look at a Bach, visualize a Bach concerto this way. This line of music, that line of music. This one for these instruments. This one, this one, this one. And this is what it sounds like when you look down like that. This is what's going on. This is how a complex negotiator operates. You're negotiating about one thing. He's already 2 ahead of you, negotiating for the next thing and setting up for it. Because we don't give the man credit, nobody notices this. It's probably good. But why do we want our enemies to notice it? And I'm not going to tell you all of them. But because I know him and because I'm not as good a negotiator as he is. But I'm not bad. I could do 4. He probably could do 6. I can see what he's doing. That's why I was never concerned about the tariffs. I mean, the Wall Street Journal is so ridiculously childish about the tariffs. Don't you see what he's doing with them? Well, the answer is complex issue. I think Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is handling it brilliantly. We have people in the administration, you know, they don't succeed at everything, but they succeeded a lot. And then we got a couple that are like way over the top. Howard's one of them. Howard's one of them. I don't know if they like him or they don't like him, or I don't really give a shit. I like him. And I think he operates at a level of complexity that fits, and so does Bessent, by the way, that fits at Trump's level. And I see in Bessent a great deal of admiration for the president from a professional. I like that. And I wasn't in favor of Bessent because of his relationship with Soros. I wanted Lutnick for that job. I know Howard for a long time and love him. Great guy. But they're both terrific. And what a combination they make. And should you make Bessent head of the Fed, which I guess is not the choice right now, because he needs him where he is, then you got Howard as Treasury Secretary. You're not going to miss a beat. I mean, that's the way you put a great organization together. We were talking today about, you know, who, if Rubio were to leave, which I don't want. I think Rubio's doing a great job, but there may come a point toward the end where Rubio wants to run for president. I'm sorry, he may. So who would replace him? And Hegseth. And this team is too good to leave early. I heard Secretary Noem say, I think it was her. Pretty sure it was her. She was just talking like in a rather informal interview. And she said, well, one of the reasons this all works well, we really get along very well together. Man, it's been a long time since the cabinet's gotten along together. And don't you think that's right, Ted? Don't you get the feeling they get along pretty well together?
Yeah.
I think some of it is over with. Maybe, just maybe Musk caused some of that bitterness.
Right.
Because he wasn't a cabinet member and he was floating around like he was. And I know how that gets in the way. So when I became the president's lawyer about a year into his administration, A couple of the people that I was really close to in the administration,
Yeah.
even a few of the people that I helped them get their job,
Yeah.
they kind of got angry at me because I had such access to them. They stopped being friendly, and they started doing things to try to hurt me, and in some cases, my son.
Wow.
I wasn't doing. I didn't have time to talk about them.
Right.
And by the way, I thought they were doing a good job. So if they had, whoever was putting this in their heads, and I didn't spend an awful lot of time gossiping. I didn't have myself or Jay or my team, we didn't have time to gossip. We were trying to save his ass.
Right.
And I was always very, very aware of, which maybe some of the others weren't, that we were in a lot worse shape than we thought, which you found out with January 6th. I never counted on the Republican Senate. You think I counted on those guys? I mean, I was in politics for too damn long, ran for president myself. I know what a bunch of selfish bastards they are. And when I came in, the president was unpopular. He remained unpopular. You don't think McConnell would have voted against him? He finally did, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I knew that we had a jump start without any distraction. We had to come up with a whole different narrative, making at least winning over about 50% for the idea that Mueller was the bad guy, not us. And I'm good at that. And I did it. And that is what saved him from the Senate voting against him. They came very close to doing it after January 6th, didn't they? Very close. Luckily, we hung on. But they would have done it the first time. It's all political. The idea that this is about, I mean, I lost that idea about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. That this is all about law, truth, and justice. The Democratic Party is so damn crooked, that doesn't mean anything in America anymore. And you have no idea how bad the Democratic Party is.
Right.
You have no idea. I mean, if I were Dante or a spiritualist, or I would say Satan is operating at the core of the party and motivating them to put up communists in New York and try to get ICE agents killed. What about those 2 attempts on Trump? Just accidents? And nobody's investigating it? Or you think I'd buy that? Go sell that to some jackass, not me. You better come up with an explanation for those assassinations. That's what you're there for, damn it. Not Epstein. Well, Israel and Syria may be a bigger problem than we think. Now, I'm not sure of that. I know the president wants to quickly get to an Abraham Accord with Syria. But we got to be sure that we don't have the wrong people in charge of this government who did not actually give up terrorism, but pretended to so they could take control of the Syrian government and needed us in Israel to do it because they never could have possibly done it. I don't like. First of all, I begin with the fact that there was no need to wipe out all of Assad's people, the Alawites. I do not subscribe to the notion that that's the way that you reorganize a country. I think that America could teach the course on how to reorganize a country, despite the fact that we screwed it up so terribly in Iraq. But we'd go back to 1946 and 47 and 48. We go back to MacArthur and the people in Germany and the people sent to Italy and the way in which they did it. Now, that is true. We had governments that were more of our civilization than we have here. And we had, particularly in the case of Italy, we had a country that was, I don't even know, half with Mussolini, certainly half against him. And therefore very willing to accept us. We must have had a group of people in Japan that was similar, because they cooperated with the change very quickly, and Germany did too. But then again, we had some brilliant people doing it. MacArthur's going to talk to the emperor was brilliant. Our keeping in place the people who run the railroads, run the gas stations, run the police departments, was absolutely the right thing to do. And to weed out as best we can the ones who were true Nazis or true fascists or true whatever you want to call it in Japan. But you can't do what you did in Iraq, which Bernie Kerik and I realized on day one was a terrible mistake. Do away with everybody. When Bernie went there to run the police, there was no police department. They're all gone. Who knows how to deliver letters? You think they all loved Saddam Hussein? I mean, that's ridiculous. It just doesn't work that way. If God is good to us and we get a chance to do this in Iran, we got to be aware of the same darn thing. I do not know how the country that had the greatest talent for taking an enemy and making it a friend, taking a dictatorship and making it into a model democracy. And you could say, look, Italy has had a lot of different governments, but it's a democracy. Japan's a democracy. Germany is a democracy. They're functioning governments a hell of a lot better than they were under Mussolini, Hitler, and the maniacs that were running it in combination or in an Axis alliance with Nazis. So I'd say one of the great failings, whoever did this, is not to go back and recreate for Iraq. Just use as a model what we did in those other three countries that became three of our best allies. So this idea of nation building, which we will now say depended on the culture of the country and what the country wanted, there's something to that. But I would say not as much as having a very competent, well-planned transition with very good people. I'll give you a country where it should work almost the way it worked in Italy and in Japan and in Germany. That's Iran. Iran is a sophisticated country. Iran is otherwise known as Persia. Its history and civilization is as old or older than ours. Its contribution to astronomy, psychology, science, substantial. Even under the massive, unbelievable autocracy that they live under, religious insanity they live under, it's still a country of a lot of well-educated, substantial people who want nothing to do with this. That's a country that we could use the Italy, Germany, Japan model, and it would work. There's certainly enough of a basis of civilization there for it to work. Iraq, more marginal, but not impossible. Afghanistan, maybe 30 years away. Maybe that was just a terrible mistake, thinking we could. I don't know that if you would take all the lessons of Italy or Japan or whatever and apply it to Afghanistan, it would work. I'm sure it would work in Iran. I'm pretty sure it would have worked in Iraq. And I'm not sure about Afghanistan. But you can't become an automaton and I'm an isolationist, we'll never do nation building. Well, not even when it works. Would you like to redo Japan Italy, and Germany and see if they could still be on the side of the Axis Nazis? How stupid is that? I don't get this. I'm an isolationist. I'm an interventionist. Why don't you just be an intelligent person? Sometimes you intervene. Sometimes you don't. Why impose that on yourself so that it stops immediately your ability to assimilate the facts? Because you start to assimilate them through a funnel where you're going to justify yourself, which is probably wrong with us right now academically. So China is now trying to get out of the Panama deal. They want a peace. They want to make like a big universal settlement of this so that everybody has a piece of the ports, and China will be one of the big ones, and it'll include Panama. Like hell it will. China does not belong in Panama. Kick them out. That's a national security issue. We don't want China to have anything to do with the Panama Canal. It's too damn close to us. We don't want China that close to us. Sorry. We gave up Bagram Air Base, was 400 miles from you. We're not going to give you anything within 1,000 miles of us, you jackasses. So I don't understand this. There's a July 27 deadline. And the same thing is true with TikTok. Let's stop pussying around with TikTok. Get them the hell out of here. As much as we can do to decouple from China, the best. Better. Things we can't, fine. But the things we have to, yes. And let's put pressure on them now. They're under a lot of economic pressure. There's a 50-50 chance that they're trying to kick Xi Jinping out. So Mr. President, I'd stop talking about him as my big friend. Maybe he's not such a big friend. I think it might help over there if you said a few things like, it'd be really nice if the Chinese people would be more, if the Chinese government be more cooperative and more like it used to be. See, that would hang back to Deng Xiaoping and his reaction to Mao when he opened up the country and wanted, now he didn't have all great motives either, but as a transition, this wouldn't be bad to go back to something like that. And maybe to start thinking that you're going to warp this economy if you try to take on the United States. This would be very, very hard for Xi Jinping to see. Maybe a younger, more versatile Chinese thinker could see this. If we stay focused on the strengths of our economy as Trump is doing, and if we stay tough in our negotiations and don't go back to being Uncle Patsy, China can't surpass us. They don't have the ability to work themselves out of a very, very deep economic problem because they don't have the ability to motivate their citizens. A top-down economy could be very efficient, but it can't be very creative. A top-down economy can work really well at good times. But when things are bad, they can't reform. They can't change. We get big boosts in morale in this country. They don't get big boosts in morale in China. They just get told what to do. There's a difference. There's a reason why they steal technology from us and we don't steal technology from them. It's not because they're not as smart as we are. Gosh almighty, they come into our schools and they're smarter than we are. Here's what they're not. They're not as creative as we are. The reason they're so smart is because they can memorize so damn well. They're not smart because they can come up with innovative ideas. The top-down approach, which tells you that there's a formula for everything, makes it very, very rare that somebody can be trained that way as a young person to become an inventor. There's exceptions, always. But I'm talking about a big, big country of 1.4 billion people. So we have to understand the advantages we have and keep those out in front. And maybe we can convince China someday to be satisfied. Don't get all upset, China, with being number 2. It's not bad being number 2. I don't know. Avis did pretty well, right? And we're not a you become our friend, and we're not going to hurt you. You want to hurt us. We don't want to hurt you.
Right.
I mean, I know it's very, very hard with these kids who get trained in Marxism to really understand that enough. But this is not a malignant country. Country's made mistakes, but hasn't it always been working on challenging those mistakes? Right from the beginning, it worked on slavery. It works very hard on trying to set up a social safety net without becoming a dependent socialist economy, which we may be right now. But there's no desire for us to take over anybody. Even Trump's ideas with Canada and Greenland and Panama all are based on our security. Panama is 100%. We can't have China in Panama. Sorry. Out. Greenland is our defense against Russia. Canada is a little more of a, I'm not going to say joke, but we don't mean that to take them over. I mean, frankly, Canada would be so much better off if it was part of our country, and we'd be worse off. We'd have to go through 30 years of their stopping from being dependent socialists. I mean, I'd like to take the western part of Canada, where they got the cowboys, and they want to be part of the United States. Well, let's see. I think we've covered everything important. I want you to go see Dr. Maria right away, just in case you're sick. Yeah, I think we've covered everything. Oh, Colbert.
Oh, we gotta, come on.
When are the rest of them going to go, Ted?
Right.
The whole crew.
Right. And
the whole crew my thing went out. The whole crew, we didn't have the C in here.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't working. Oh, that part wasn't plugged in. Well, in any event, so I've never watched Colbert. It's honestly true. Only time I've ever seen Colbert is when he is made fun of by a conservative reporter on Newsmax or Fox or Real America's News or one of the podcasts. I don't think I've ever sat through a Colbert show, ever. Wasn't he with somebody first?
Jon Stewart. Well, he came on right after.
I never thought, I know everybody gets upset with me. I never thought Jon Stewart was funny. Back in the day when he wasn't even particularly political. I thought he was kind of a jackass.
I hate to say it. I used to watch him.
Yeah,
I agree
but
with you
I
now.
always thought he was terrible. I mean, after Johnny Carson, it was downhill. Letterman was okay, and Jay Leno was okay. And they were good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, it's been like one laugh, joke, silly idiot.
Well,
not a person who doesn't know who he is and has to constantly change it. Look at poor Jimmy Fallon, who I know from Saturday Night Live. There's a really legitimate kid who knew who he was. He's had to change himself into 5 different personalities.
right.
because the
He
money
sold
got
out.
to him. And he isn't even funny anymore.
But don't you agree, Mayor?
Jimmy Fallon had like great talent as a comedian.
Yeah.
And now he's like, it's what happens when you go work in a house of prostitution.
Yeah.
You know, you got to put on pink lipstick, you got to put on white lipstick, you got to put on this lipstick, you got to be against Trump, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't say that. Oh my God, you can't say Indian. Indian.
Don't. And Mayor, don't
For
you?
the life of me, I cannot figure out what's wrong with the word Indian. I cannot figure it out.
Nothing other than maybe it's geographically incorrect. I can get behind.
Why is
the
it geographically incorrect? I mean, what else were they? Did they have a name?
They had tribal names. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm with you, Mayor, all the way. But look, because
Well, did they ever convey the names? They couldn't write.
So is it true
do we get any credit for teaching them to write and to not chopping people's hair off?
Is it true that they were called the Indians because the folks that came over here from Europe at first had the goal of reaching India?
Yeah. I think.
This
taught.
is just this could be an old wives' tale.
But I mean, so what's wrong with that? I mean, people get misnamed and that becomes their name. I mean, they didn't have a name.
Let's take an example.
What's their name in their history books?
Ojibwa. Let's take a tribe.
What's their name in their history books? Oh, they don't have history books. You think it was good that we taught them they should have history books?
Did they not read? They didn't write? They didn't have language? Or they had language, but
well, you know all those great histories of the Native Americans, right?
That's an interesting
like
point.
Herodotus in Greece.
You're actually right.
Of course, they don't have a written history.
We don't have.
Or it disappeared.
That's an interesting point, though. I'm actually curious. You're right.
I mean,
at what point?
I know everybody gets upset, but we did civilize them.
But isn't that the history? Isn't that the entire history of our species, of the human race? Over time, different cultures and societies
Somebody
take over
else
previous
comes along who's advanced.
Yes, takes it over,
and you got to challenge that advance, and you either got to defeat them or
sink or swim.
Join them. That's
history.
You may consider that a certain form of evolution.
So that's where the wokey lefties get it wrong, right?
Well, they basically want to take us back.
They paint it as
but look at them. They are uncivilized. Look at the way they dress.
Looking at you, Fetterman.
No, look at the way they dress. I mean, they dress like they never take a shower. They talk like idiots. They curse like crazy.
Oh yeah, you read that, right?
They have.
How dare you speak of Senator Warren's people that way?
Senator Warren is no more one of them than she is one of us. I mean, she's just
she ain't one of me.
She was like. She's like Zoltran Mandumi, who said he was black so he could get an extra leg up on trying to get into Colombia, where he couldn't get into because his goddamn score was so low.
He still couldn't get in.
And he still couldn't get in, even though he had himself African-American, black, and Asian. He was going to put in woman, but he didn't think of it.
Right, and he was trying to take that from some other more deserving black.
Because why Zoltran? Because you were too stupid. Your grades were too low. You're not that smart. You wouldn't be saying the stuff you're saying if you were that smart. Smart people are not in favor of government-owned grocery stores. Sorry. It's only really dopey people who haven't read the history of the last 150 years and absorbed it, who think that's a good idea. Now, maybe you don't have the capacity to read the history of the last 150 years. That may be the thing that's wrong with a lot of you guys. You're either too stupid or too damn lazy to read history. You remember why the Soviet Union fell, Zoltran? They couldn't get food in the government-owned grocery stores. We had plenty of food here. When's the last time America ran out of food? Depression? When's the last time a communist country ran out of food? Today. They're running out of food in Venezuela, jackass. And you want to do that to my New York? And you got people that are seriously considering it? Oh. Well, with that, I'm going to send you over to Dr. Maria because she's going to have a great show. And that's on Lindell TV. So we're going to say our goodbyes now for the weekend. And we're going to be available in case anything happens, as we always are, but hopefully nothing will. And we're going to pray. We're going to pray for the people that are at war, that their war is over soon, for those poor families in Ukraine, for the people of Israel who didn't bring this on themselves. They didn't attack anybody. The terrorist group Hamas came over in their country and slaughtered them. And they just want to be free of that menace that they've had for 40 years. Nothing wrong with that. That's totally human. And it would be a great contribution to us because Hamas wants to come after us too, as does Iran. And we're going to pray for the people of Iran who I know want to be free. It's going to work in Iran if we have the guts to do it. And of course, pray for people of America. They owe you so much, and therefore they're willing to do so much for you, dear God. And pray for our president. Just keep giving him the wisdom that he's been displaying. Just keep it up. So, Ted, let's do it. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common